Hello and welcome to Burning Issues, the only program that provides you a glimpse inside the Wichita Fire Department. I'm Fire Marshal Brad Crisp, and in this episode we'll talk about summertime safety and give you tips you and your family should be thinking about as we move into the summer months. Every year, as we move into warmer weather, special attention needs to be given to things in and around our homes to protect you and your family from serious injury or possible death. Swimming pools, outdoor fireplaces, bicycles, barbecue grills, and smoke alarms are just a few of the things we need to be constantly aware of during the summer and thinking about to protect our property and loved ones. I'd like to welcome Lieutenant Jose Oquedis back to Burning Issues. Jose, thanks for joining me today. Normally, Jose is under the table doing the puppets, but today he gets to be above the table and joining us today. Jose, you've been with the Wichita Fire Department for 13 years. You've been a big part of our public education program and wanted to bring you in and talk about some of the things that folks can do to keep themselves and their families safe during the summer months. So why don't we start off talking about kids and they're out of school. What are some of the things people need to be aware of?
Thanks, Chief, for inviting me back again. And well, it's that time of year again and time for fun in the sun for all the kids and family members to have fun during vacation times and throughout the summer. But the number one concern that we have to be cautious of is smoke alarms in our homes. We do have our children, teenagers, or with daycare providers or by themselves at home. So we have to make sure that we do have smoke alarms in our homes. I know we were supposed to change our smoke alarm batteries 2 months ago during daylight saving times, but if you haven't, it's never too late to change them right now. Make sure that the kids know that they have emergency contacts numbers to contact you if you're a parents, if you're emergency situations, right. And also to use the number 911 in case of emergency. We have to make sure that they are aware that if they do have some type of emergency in the house, especially a fire, that they do know how to get out and not just a normal means of entry of the house, that they could go out of window, they could go out of a patio door, front door, back door, basement, to make sure that they're aware of exiting the house in a safe manner. But once you do get outside, also having a meet in place, because accountability is our number one concern for the fire department, is life safety.
Yeah, as soon as the firefighters show up, they're going to want to know, is there anybody inside the house?
Yes.
And having an escape plan, practicing it with your kids, making sure they know where to go is huge. It's going to save lives, not only their lives, but also potentially firefighters. So smoke alarms are important. They save lives, and we know that.
Yes.
In fact, last year, in 4 of our fatalities, there were homes that didn't have working smoke alarms. And so we need to make sure everybody has those, especially when the kids are home. Because smoke alarms give you early detection that something's wrong and to call 911 and to get help there. But more importantly right now is the kids are going to be at home, not in school, and that means they're going to be out and about and playing. What are some of the things that folks need to think about as summer approaches and kids are out?
Well, while the kids are out, you know, some of them might be home alone. They're old enough to be home alone, hopefully, and also that even the daycare providers might even forget that they have something on the stove. Right now, unattended cooking is the number one cause of house fires for the Wichita Fire Department. And because of technology, cell phones, and text messaging, playing games, Xbox, PlayStation 3, all the DVD-Rs and all the electronics now that wasn't around when I was young.
It's a distraction.
Yes, it is, really is. And even TV shows for even our daycare providers, that they start cooking, or even maybe one of the kids start acting up and you have to find out where they're at, or discipline them one way or another. We forget that we are cooking because we are distracted from our main thing that we're doing is cooking. So we have to make sure that once we're cooking, we always stay in the kitchen area to make sure that we do not leave it unattended, that because of burning food or causes smoke inside the house, or even having a rag or a hot mitten nearby the stove near an eyelid that could also possibly catch on fire also.
Right. So pay attention while you're cooking. If it gets out of control, get out and call 911. If it's still small, you can reach over, turn the power off, get a wet rag, put it over the pot. I mean, there's some things that you can do, but if you're not confident with that, you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can always get out and call 911. Still staying with the kids out of school theme, they're going to be outside in parks, they're going to be playing out in the streets. What are some things that our drivers need to be aware of?
Well, especially in neighborhoods that are have a lot of traffic going around neighborhoods, and if you live near a major thoroughfare, you really have to be aware that kids are out of school now. They will be riding skateboards, riding their bicycles, playing kickball, and just might go out into the street chasing the ball. We have to have more cautious in the Wichita Fire Department, that we do make sure that responding vehicles, our apparatuses, are aware that this is a time of year that kids are out, and once they hear lights and sirens, and they come running towards the curve of the street, and we have to be also aware of that the kids are in neighborhoods, so drive a little bit more cautious around these school areas and home neighborhood areas also.
We want to also encourage parents to insist that their kids wear their helmets when they're riding their bicycles or riding their skateboards, because that does prevent injury. It can prevent pretty significant injuries, head injuries.
Any type of safety equipment for skateboards, bicycles is always recommended. Helmets especially, because a lot of concussions going around, and head injuries can be a very major medical emergency for us. But even with bicycles, wear reflective vest. Make sure that your bicycle has reflectives on your tires, on your wheel rims. Also, if you can, get a front and rear light underneath your seat. Skateboards, always wear knee pads, elbow pads, any type of safety to be able to try to avoid as much of any type of injury as possible is always preventable.
Yeah, a broken arm or a dislocated knee or a concussion probably wouldn't make for a very good summer if you're a kid.
No, especially if you're in a cast and laid up on the couch watching TV all day and everybody else is at the pool playing.
Right. Speaking of pools, let's talk about that. Obviously, kids in swimming pools are kind of like mom and apple pie. They kind of go hand in hand. Kids like to go to swimming pools. People have swimming pools in their neighborhoods. They have them in their backyards. What are some of the things that we need to be thinking about as parents, as you know, babysitters and citizens of Wichita, to help keep our pools as safe as possible?
Well, I know in the city pools we have lifeguards on duty at all times, so they have their duty to make sure that they're paying attention to the pool area where the kids are at, where the diving area is at, and just the swimming area. But the main concern is the neighborhoods that have pools, that there is no lifeguard on duty. That responsibility goes to the parents, to the daycare provider, babysitter, and the most important thing is that provider does not, again, it's almost like unattended cooking. Forget that the kid's in there. You start reading a magazine, you start playing on your phone, text messaging, always being aware of that you can see the kids, because in a matter of seconds, your child could be underneath and you won't know about it, and then next thing you know, you'll be calling 911 for possible drowning.
Right. One of the things we do in the fire department is we always send 2 in to fight a fire.
Yes.
We send 2 to go on medical calls and et cetera and so on. And swimming isn't any different. If you're swimming, don't swim alone.
No, it's almost like the buddy system, as we call it in the fire department. Always have a buddy with you. If you're a teenager and you do go to the pool, never go to the pool by yourself. Main thing is that not just for swimming, sunscreen is very important. Always get the highest protection that you can. Mm-hmm. I know people like to get suntans and be for the summer, but at the same time, let's protect ourselves from any type of cancer that could possibly occur to you. And also drink plenty of water. Try to avoid sodas, energy drinks while you're out in the summer, because just being out swimming or even just laying out, you do dehydrate, and the only best way to replenish all your electrolytes is by drinking a lot of water initially.
Right. For the folks that have a swimming pool in their backyard, there's a couple of things that they need to do to ensure safety. They need to make sure that they have a fence around their pool, that it's secured in some way, whether it's locked or something like that. That way, some neighbor kid doesn't get in accidentally, or you know, somebody comes over and doesn't realize there's a swimming pool, you know, steps on a cover or whatever and falls in and potentially drowns. And that protects pets as well, dogs and cats and whatnot, from getting in there. But also wanted to mention pool chemicals. There's chlorine, there's algicides, there's all kinds of chemicals that we use in our pools, and we store those things in our home or we store them in our garage, and that could become a real potential hazard for kids that get a hold of them, or even for you, mixing them up. You know, you get a good whiff of chlorine, and that's going to wreak havoc on your respiratory system. You need to make sure the area's well ventilated, the wind's blowing, don't stick your face down in the bucket where you're mixing your chemicals, and keep those things stored away out of reach of kids. out of reach of your pets, and make sure they're locked up and put away. So, good tips. While we're still in the backyard and talking about swimming pools, let's talk about barbecue grills. Something that we enjoy using.
Well, sure, favorite time of year, but also if you're a barbecuer like I am, I just barbecue throughout the year, wintertime also. So, but right now it's a big time when family and friends get together in the evening times and throw some steaks, burgers, chicken on the grill. The main thing that we want to be cautious is the distance that you are using your grill at, regardless of if it's a gas grill or even a charcoal grill, 10 to 15 feet from any type of structure, from your home, from a wooden fence, from your deck, especially from your deck using a charcoal grill. And the distance is very important. Also consider that the gas grills is that after you do use them, make sure that you turn off the tank themselves in the off position and also on the grill to bleed off the excess gas that's in the gas grill. When you do dispose the charcoal briskets, make sure that you put them in a metal container and drown them in water and just let them sit there. Do not just throw them in the trash can right away. Right. We have had some case studies even here in Wichita that we've had fires from somebody barbecuing using charcoal, and a week later they finally dispose of them in their trash can, and their back of their house is on fire and their neighbors letting them know that your roof is on fire. So dispose of charcoal grills or charcoal briskets is very important.
Not just in your home, but also in apartment buildings and places, multifamily dwellings, fourplexes and whatnot. Same thing applies for barbecue grills. Don't use them on your wood deck.
We're not on your wood deck, and especially in apartments, you're not supposed to be barbecuing on the second floor or above, but we do have residents in apartments do barbecue. Be cautious on that, and just if you can, just barbecue on the main level, and then be able to just go up and down the stairs to your apartment if necessary. But try to avoid that because fires goes up. And next thing you know, it might start on your deck, but the next thing you know, it's going to be on the second, third floor of your apartment building.
Right, real quick. The same rules apply to barbecuing because that's cooking. It's the same thing. You're just outside doing it. Constantly attend that barbecue grill.
Yes.
Don't leave it alone. Those steaks or hamburgers, hot dogs, whatever it is you're cooking, I guarantee you has grease-laden vapors. And if there's grease-laden vapors, they can catch on fire. So constantly attend those. While we're on the issue of decks, let's talk about smoking and careless smoking. We've had 8 fatalities last year. We know more than half of those were contributed to careless smoking. And we had a couple of instances last year where we had significant fires outside of people's homes who were going outside to smoke and threw their cigarette butt down in a potted plant or down in the mulch. What can folks do to keep themselves safe from this kind of fire?
In order to keep yourself safe and your residents and family members is that when you dispose of your cigarette butt, always dispose of it in a metal can. And that metal can can either have sand or even water in it so that it will be extinguished right away. And just let it sit there for a while. Do not just grab it out of that can and put it in the dumpster itself. That's where most of our fires are. And then some people, I don't want to say that they're lazy, but something is just readily accessible to them as a flower pot or just flickering it out of their car or even in their apartment building that has mulch around their apartment building or even home, and next thing you know, it smolders. It might take quite a while for it to smolder, but it'll eventually get to its flammable reach, and then it'll just go ahead and ignite and just start on fire. And most of the time, it's really when you're unaware or outside of the area when it catches on fire.
Yeah, we've had a number of fires here in Wichita where folks went out in the evening to get that last smoke before they went to bed, flicked it off their deck into the mulch pile. It smolders for 30 minutes or 45 minutes, and the next thing you know, it's midnight. The side of your house and your roof are on fire, and you're in bed asleep, and you have no idea. There's no smoke alarms outside, no. So your house is on fire, and that can be a really bad situation. So we really want to encourage folks to be careful about their careless smoking. Recreational fires. We're still out in the backyard. We've got a pool. We're safely barbecuing. We're not carelessly smoking, but we want to have our chimenea or outdoor fire pit or something like that going. Several years ago, we kind of laxed the rules on outdoor recreational fires because we wanted to respect people's home ownership rights and things that they want to do on their property. But with that comes personal responsibility. What do folks need to do to keep their areas safe when they're talking about outdoor burning?
Well, outdoor recreational fires, the main thing that we have to first be cautious of is the fire danger that's being posted right at that time when you do want to have that recreational fire. What are the winds like? If the winds are exceeding what the wind speed is 15 miles an hour, there's you're not allowed to have recreational fires. But anything below that, be aware of your surroundings and the wind speed and the temperature outside. And when you do have any type of recreational fire that's outside of the portable fireplaces, the only distance or the size that you can only have is 3 feet in width by the height, and the height is 2 feet in height. So be cautious on what you're burning and on your chimeneas and portable fireplaces or even your fire pits. Again, distance away from any type of structure, 10 to 15 feet away from anything that could catch on fire.
Right. We don't necessarily want to have our chimenea or our outdoor fire pit on our wood balcony, which
or
is right
underneath
next to our house.
Or
yeah,
underneath
it. It's okay to set it up there, for decorative purposes, but if you're going to use it, take it off the balcony or take it off the deck and put it down in your yard on the green grass.
Just move it away from a safe distance and enjoy it from there.
I do want to mention real quick that if you are burning outside a chimenea or something like that and it's creating a smoke nuisance, and if somebody calls, we're obligated to come out. If it creates a smoke nuisance, we have to come out, and we'll probably ask you to extinguish it. You're not going to get a ticket, but their city ordinance does say that we do have to extinguish the fire if somebody's offended by the smoke, or perhaps the neighbor has asthma or it's really bothering them in a medical way. We will put it out. We're going to be nice about it. But.
And again, as neighbors, if you do have any type of recreational fire, again, the wind direction will take a factor in if there is a nuisance call for the fire department to respond. And just be courtesy of your neighbors around you because of the wind.
Go talk to them. Say, hey, got a chimney, I'd like to burn it today. Is that going to bother you? Those kinds of things can help out. Well, the final thing I wanted to talk about today was people going on vacation. Maybe some people are coming to Wichita or perhaps folks in Wichita are going somewhere else and they're going to stay in a hotel or a motel or a place that they're not really familiar with. They're certainly not as familiar with it as their home. What are some of the things they need to look at or pay attention to while they're traveling or while they're on vacation?
Well, while you're traveling, wherever you stay the night at, like you said, hotel, motel, or any other, even a friend's house, family member's house, be aware of your surroundings, meaning that you always want to make sure that you know a safe way out of that location from either a hotel, motel, another friend's house, family member's house. Be aware of how can I get my family members out? How can I get out in safety? Again, it's not always in the means of entry that you always enter and exit that structure. It might be through a window, through a sliding door, basement, window well. So always be aware of your surroundings. In hotels, they do have multiple exits. They do have little pictures and designs of evacuation plans and which way to go, but always have more than one way out. That's the most important thing.
Right, and it's not a bad idea to know where the fire extinguisher is located. Shoot, you can even look around and make sure that it's a sprinkler building. A lot of safety in sprinkler systems and fire alarm systems. So.
Yeah, sprinkler systems are very effective. I believe it's about 97% being able to contain or extinguish a fire itself. So, but if you are in a hotel, don't hang anything on those sprinkler heads.
No hanging baseball uniforms on sprinkler heads. Well, Jose, thank you for joining me today. Appreciate you taking your time out, and I'm sure folks can take away something from what we've talked about today. That concludes this episode of Burning Issues. Our mission is to provide our community excellent proactive fire and life safety services through prevention, education, and protection. Remember, Wichita firefighters are highly trained professionals who are your friends and neighbors. They are Wichita's bravest, and they're somewhere serving you every day.